Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered in my 47 years of doing therapy. And gratefully, these tools are available absolutely free at the website, whyagiin.org. If you go to that webpage and click on the Start Here link in the upper left-hand corner, it will take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Bryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of the book is a narrative description of the primary tool in this work. It's called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet. And it's a tool I've been using to great effect over the past 17 plus years to improve the quality of my life and most of my relationships, and effectively turn any negative emotional experience I have into part of that infallible guidance system that we've all been given. So if you'd like to get access to that, you can read about it in that chapter of the book. You can also click on a link on that same page and download the actual worksheet process itself. It's a simple PDF file download. Copy it, print it as often as you'd like. And you can also go to your app store and type in the three words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness. And before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll get access to a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet, an abbreviated version of that worksheet process, and a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. You can also download a whole host of audio files of shows just like this one, in which people have either been stepped through the worksheet process or given powerful testimonials about how the application of that tool has improved the quality of their life and relationships, and or raised important questions about how a process so seemingly simple and transparent can be so powerful and effective. And when you do that, we hope you do soon and often, because then it raises questions for a lot of people, and we have a call-in number, 563-999-3581. And if you call that number and press 1, it'll put a question mark by your phone number, and I'll announce you by your area code. And we can have a conversation. We also have the Mind Shifter support group that's happening tonight from 6:30 p.m. till 9 p.m. Central Time. And this is available absolutely free through the web. If you go to mindshiftersacademy.org, the information on how to join us is there. It's all through Zoom ever since the coronavirus restrictions took hold. And we're also doing the Course in Miracles workbook lessons this year. Today is the 229th day of the year. Today's lesson reads, Love, which created me, is what I am. I seek my own identity and find it in these words. Love, which created me, is what I am. Now need I seek no more. Love has prevailed. So still it waited for my coming home, that I will turn away no longer from the holy face of Christ. And what I look upon attests the truth of the identity I sought to lose, but which my Father has kept safe for me. My Father, thanks to you for what I am, for keeping my identity untouched and sinless in the midst of all the thoughts of my sin, and my foolish mind made it up. And thanks to you for saving me from those thoughts. We're also doing the Course in Miracles experiment with Pam Grout, and her very brief chapter 229 is titled, Lovers Gonna Love, quotes Leo Buscaglia, who most people of a certain age will not know of. He says, there are people waiting for someone just like us to come along. Someone who will live a happier life merely because we took the time to share what we had to give. Pam writes, you can't make a giraffe sing an aria. You can't teach a goat to do the cha-cha. And you can't really be happy in this life without being true to who you are. Lesson 229, which reads, love, which created me, is what I am. This lesson says it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, a sign painter, a candlestick maker, because your true behind-the-scenes identity is love. We were made by love, and we're here to love. Any other choice makes us miserable. Love, which created me, is what I am. And that's our Course in Miracles lesson in Pam Grout's Course in Miracles experiment reading for today. And we have another 50 minutes to talk, entertain comments, questions, answers, suggestions. 563-999-3581. If you were here with us yesterday, or if you've gotten access to yesterday's archives, you were witness to a conversation in the second half of our first hour between Susan Bingham and me. And as I finished that conversation, I remembered that several times during the conversation I thought, boy, I'm glad this is recorded. And that's the first time that's happened in quite a while for me in this radio show and the support group. So I went back after I was done working last night at 8 o'clock and edited out that 30 minutes so that I could give it another listen and manage our lives. Bruce Lipton recommends that we call it the belief effect because that word would have more reverence to it, and that we should understand the power of our minds to affect change in our physical bodies. And a while back we were discussing the book by Eric Vance titled Suggestible You. And when I have people that, as I mentioned, it was enough that I created a new page on the mindshiftersacademy.org website for that. So I thank you for that.
Yeah. Thanks for doing it. You know, when you're in it as the customer, you don't realize whether it's good, bad, or what. I just found it extremely helpful and challenging. I mean, I appreciate now being shown the messes that I create for myself, and I will refrain from saying how embarrassing it can be because I know I have to do a worksheet on it if I say that. But it just ends up being okay.
as though saying I won't say it absolves you of the need to do a worksheet on it. That's really good.
Yeah. I'm weaseling my way around not having to do another worksheet right now. Yeah. Right.
Sometimes, Susan, I think you should be a stand-up comic.
That's one of the byproducts
one,
of being an idiot, that's all. Yeah.
Now let's detoxify the negative comments. Let's just enjoy the humor, enjoy the irony.
Yeah. Mhm. All right. So I'm going to get my notes
there for free download. So, and I'll just put that out there. If you have a comment or a question, you can call us at 563-999-3581, or you can email me through the contact form on that webpage, or you can email me at at mindshifters-academy.org. And you can suggest other shows that you think would be good to put in the highlight or best of page on mindshiftersacademy.org, or suggest a topic for discussion. Susan, are you there?
I'm here. Yeah. Well, Dr. Tim, for me, that was a highlight show, whether you thought so or not, and I'm happy to hear that you thought so, but I had a weird experience with the worksheet. I thought it was a hydra. Have you ever had a hydra shrink down into one issue? I thought I was going to have to do 5 worksheets this morning, and I did 1. And it seemed as if everything was encased or included very simply in that one. And the kind of relief and release I felt from doing that worksheet was just amazing, amazing. Now, I'm knocking on wood as I speak because I have the superstition that I might tempt the fates, but all anxiety gone, all sense of having to fix or help my grandson or anyone else gone. I feel like my spirit has expanded like it was a dry sponge, and it just opened up. And it was all from one memory. And you've heard that memory before. It was the time when my little sister got a bad whipping. And my conclusion was that she was not going to be okay. And I have placed that fear on most of the people in my life. If the goal becomes, I've got to make sure they're okay. I've got to make sure they're okay. And just to have a look at the sinking feeling that someone's being hurt so badly that they will not be okay. I didn't make any sense of it. I just saw that that's probably partly, if not totally, where that came from, the work I was trying to do, which obviously, even though I had thought about it and done a worksheet on it, I had not gotten it until being on the radio show, which makes me want to add, somehow I have been asked to be a speaker on Kristen Ryman's Healing Grove series. She runs these webinars, and she gets people to speak. She asked me last year, and I said no. And she asked me this year, and I said no. And then suddenly hit me, I don't have to go on and tout my enlightened state or anything. I can go on and introduce the tools, the worksheet mainly. And so I wrote back to her and said, I'm reconsidering. Would you allow me to introduce this 5-step wake-up sheet detailing the patter in the middle of it? Would you allow me to do that? She said, that's just what I was looking for. Yes, you're on. Send me your bio. Send me the worksheet. I'll distribute it among the group. I'll schedule you. And so I'm going to give a talk, and I feel all the more empowered to give a talk because of this breakthrough worksheet from yesterday. So I can actually tell people on this webinar about the radio show, about the tools, and I'm hoping there'll be some interest. I've listened to a lot of the talks on her Healing Grove website. I think you ought to be on there too, or she ought to. I've tried to connect you before, but you're both so busy, and she's so crazy busy that it hasn't happened, but it really should. Kristen Ryman, she's just an amazing healer, speaker, combination of functional medicine doctor, family medicine, conventional medicine, MD. Anyway.
So is it healinggrove.com?
It's a Facebook group. So if you go on Facebook and type in Healing Grove, you should get there. I can go on now and get the exact whole thing.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay.
Well, and what I wanted to say is, what's wonderful about this is, as you present this, and if you present your own story, your own worksheet process or processing, that's where you'll get even deeper insights for yourself. The key for me is, in a situation like this, that you will learn more about your own process the more you talk about it with others, the more you break down the analysis of how it is that you got a shift in perspective or focus or perception. And that's the great part about that. Because the more you shift and see the benefits in your life, the more other people are going to resonate with it. So, are you still there? Very quiet on your end. Am I still there? Always a question. Let us try something else. Are you back?
Okay, Dr. Tim? Hey, I'm back.
Yes.
I got this weird voice saying, the number you have dialed is not in service and cannot, and then it hung up. The call failed, so I just dialed back in, and that's why I couldn't answer you. But I think there was only about a half a minute of blip in there. I think everybody else is probably on and fine, but something went fluey on my end. But yes, number one, I think people love to hear stories, testimonials, and also it didn't occur to me that I would also learn even more by telling it, but I'm very open to that idea. I love the idea.
Well, I think there's the power of it. I mean, that's when I share the processing that I have and the stuff that when I share my worksheets or my insights, it's because I know that by sharing them, I will learn it deeper. And if somebody else benefits from it, okay, that's nice for them. I'm doing it primarily for myself. I've created the mindshiftersacademy.org website. I update it from time to time when it feels appropriate. But I have no idea. Is anybody else ever looking at that? Right? Does anybody? But
yeah.
when I find a highlight segment like yesterday's half an hour with our discussion, and I listen to it 2 or 3 or 4 times or more, depending upon the depth of the stuff, I benefit.
Wow. Great.
So I'm going to turn on Ellen because she raised her hand just to see if she was. Ellen, are you just letting us know we're being heard, or do you have additional comments?
No, I was just letting you know that you were still there because you weren't sure, and so that was it. But I'm sorry now that I missed yesterday's show, but I am going to definitely go out there and listen to it after hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, and of course you can listen to the whole show through the archives. But I think that it's really just another the same old kind of intro until Susan called and had this problem, and so that's why I edited out that 30 minutes. So if you want to just listen to the 30 minutes, you can get it on the mindshiftersacademy.org website. And the webpage now says, best of replays or whatever.
Yeah, I see that, best of audio files. But I clicked on that for some reason it's not coming. I mean, it's really moving very, very slowly. As a matter of fact, it seems to have stopped loading it. So I don't know if that's something with my computer.
It's probably the website. I will appreciate that input, and I will reach out to them and see if they're having problems, because it was a slow process for me to get that page created and uploaded today. So.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be loading. It's kind of just stopped.
So then just refresh it and see if it'll eventually load.
Yeah, it doesn't even have that as an option. I can only get out of it, I guess, because, no, that stopped loading this page. Okay, now I can refresh. Okay. Oop. Actually, it just took me right back to where it was before. Just a little blue line, and that's it. I'll have to try it later. But now
Okay.
I'm very interested in listening to it.
Well, it was for my mind and my money. It was like the perfect example of what the intro was about, where I was trying to talk about how anytime I'm focused on something that I can't control, or I'm holding a goal for something that I don't have control over the outcome of the goal, the negative emotions that I generate literally block my perception. They literally distort the picture that my mind shows me, and I'm not able to see the good, the productive, the loving, the respectful, the productive responses that are called for by life in that moment. And then, lo and behold, Susan calls and says, okay, I've got this problem, and what unfolds in the next 30 minutes I thought was highlight material.
You're going, Susan.
Yeah, well. What, Ellen?
I said,
good
think? Going, Susan.
It was the same thing.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And, one of the insights that I didn't say explicitly yesterday, but you've already picked up and you talked about today, is that you were thinking you were upset because your grandson was hyper-focused.
Right.
And in the bottom line observations, one of them says, I will never be upset about anything anybody else ever says or doesn't do that I think they should, unless I'm still judging myself negatively for doing the same or similar thing. And guess who in that conversation yesterday and in the action with her grandson has a tendency to get hyper-focused on things? Her name is Susan. And so it's because you still judge yourself negatively for that it shows up in your mind as irritating to you that your grandson is being hyper-focused. And now you're focusing on him without doing what what we can all do, which is to recognize the early warning signs of our upset and take a breath to break the cycle and turn the focus back inside ourselves.
Right.
But if I don't do that, the distorted filters stay in effect, and my mind convinces me that my upset is caused by the other person or by the situation.
Right. And for me, the time between getting upset and noticing I'm upset has been huge. There's been too much going on in between. I do the worksheets long after the upset has hit. And you said, get it right at the outset, right as soon as the horse is out of the gate. Catch it. And that we can do that if we're conscious. And by choosing to be conscious, we can be conscious. I really think it's a whole new thing now. I'm hoping so. I mean, I haven't been challenged yet this morning, knock on wood. But the next time something comes up, I hope to have the lag time almost non-existent. What a great thing that is.
Well, it is the core of this work, right? It's the thing that the more I practice it, the better I can get at it. It's an actual skill. There's the idea of creating a habit, and if it's a better, healthier habit and I like the results, then I can choose to strengthen that habit until hopefully it becomes a default. And now my life is on an upward trajectory because I'm actually using the ego as the very simple helper, and I'm using my insight and intuition more and more by asking to be shown rather than, being a slave to the egoic process.
Right. At some point, either I'll send you, or if there's time and you would like it, I received a long poem from a good friend of mine. Oh, that has to do with exactly these things and the interior dynamics, the heart and how it speaks about things in the past and regrets things in the past, or the brain that looks ahead and is afraid of what might come up next, and ending up with our lungs. I shouldn't even talk about it because it's too long to describe, but it's a wonderful poem that ought to be a song that would fit in somewhere in the radio show. Or why don't I just send it to you and see what you think? I'll do that.
That'd be great. I'd be happy to receive it.
Yeah, the poet is John Rodell, Roedel, and he is a poet, and not, when I first read it, I thought, I hope these are the lyrics to a song. This would be one hell of a song, but he isn't. He's a poet, so I'll send it to you, see what you think. And also you've got Chris. Go ahead.
Well, the idea that came to me immediately was you are a composer.
Exactly. Ellen, great minds think alike.
Well,
lucky
I did
poet.
Think about that.
That poem landed in the hands of somebody who writes music.
Shut up, guys. The thing is, I don't think I could. It isn't. It would have to be rewritten to be more like lyrics for a song. This is just a free, like a prose poem. So I thought of it right away, and I thought, no, this is too hard, at least as it is. I'd have to talk to the man and say, do I have your permission to mess around and make a song from this? I'll send you the lyrics ahead of time. I might try it and write to him. He's young. He's probably functioning somewhere on the planet. Yeah, it's a wonderful summary, ending up with breathing and how coming into the present and breathing is the only answer. But of course, we're talking about tools which lead us there, and that is so great. I do feel, though, too, physically different today, slept differently, had, knock on wood, no anxiety this morning, and I've had a lot of that lately, what with everything that's going on. And I'm hoping that this Hydra/combined worksheet, all crunched into one condensed.
Or asking myself, what am I making this situation mean? And then stepping into the use of the tools, because the tool that Michael has distilled out of the Course in Miracles and the ancient Kabor's manuscript work is focused on recognizing that I will never be upset unless I'm holding on to a goal that's not getting met.
Right.
And that connection and the willingness to cancel a goal and how that opens a window for perception that's so dramatically different.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't really any words to describe that to somebody. You can only, in my experience, my personal experience has been, show them the tools and invite them to try it until they find out for themselves.
It's
because,
almost like an alchemical reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the transformation happens at a level that defies the conscious logical mind and all of its machinations.
And Dr. Tim, when you said yesterday, if you do that worksheet, you will feel stuff that you have no idea. And I thought, yeah, right. I didn't even believe you. You can go in there not believing a darn thing and do the worksheet.
Yep. Absolutely. The way you work is the way you work. The way our minds work is it's a knowable process, but you have to be willing to question what you've been brainwashed into or conditioned into, because if you go in believing that you know how things work and what's right, then you'll leave that situation knowing what you knew. But if you go in questioning, now there's the potential for knowledge, for insight, for growth, for intuition to enlighten you.
And that, to me, is where the patter is such an essential part of the worksheet. And the 5-step worksheet, I told you that's the one I'm going to use in my talk, because the first 3 steps can be very quick. And you name the trigger, name the goal, and then head right into you ask, and then you head right into the pattern, which slows you down, slows you down, slows you down. And really, if you do it, you can't come out the other side without something happening. It's like being taken by the hand.
It is a almost magical process in my experience.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the 5-step worksheet process that you're talking about is one that you got off of Michael and Jeannie's website?
I think it's yours, or maybe I forget where I got it, or maybe I put it together myself. I'll send you what I have, Dr. Tim.
So just read what those 5 steps are, please.
Number 1, my light is trapped by the reality I hold about blank, my trigger. My reality comes from my mind energy and is my responsibility. Does that ring a bell? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
That's from the Michael Rice. I don't know which version, but it's a short version from the Why Again website.
Okay. All right. Okay, then number 2, I ask that love be restored to my mind. To collapse my reality, I locate and cancel my need for number 1, 2, blank, my goal. Number 3, I ask that my true being, love, be restored to my awareness. I'm willing to have my reality and its effects change. I want to be shown the truth. Then I put in, maybe just for myself, I put in the pattern. I cancel my need to be right. Boom, 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 all the way down to ending with, keep repeating the idea, I cancel my need to be right, etc. Number 4, then, is my true source is love. I reconnect to that source, ask to be restored to love, and I restore love to number 1, which is an invitation to go to number 5. I offer you, my trigger person or situation, I offer you this enlightened goal. It's not spelled out. It's just I offer you blank. That's it. So I'll make this into a PDF and send it to you. And then I have this little business at the bottom, Wake Up Sheet by Dr. Michael Rice, adapted by Dr. Timothy Hayes, his website, your website, and the information about how to access the radio show. That's on the bottom of the sheet.
All righty.
And if there's anything that needs changing on there, I'll ask you to change it, because I am going to have this distributed to the umpteen number of people who are going to take this webinar this coming year.
All right, sounds good. I look forward to receiving it.
Okay. So I'll send you the poem and I'll send you the worksheet. Okay.
Great. So
what?
the expansion progresses. It's not an explosion. It may be a trickle, but the expansion progresses.
That's somewhere
That's great.
in between.
And I have submitted the request for the Healing Grove. Apparently, I've been approved. I don't know what that's going to lead to, but
yeah.
Kristen Clegg Ryman.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You got it. She's quite an entrepreneur. She has offered a many-leveled set of options for people to pay a certain amount at the ground level, a monthly fee, to some larger fee for more talks and more interactions, including private sessions with her as a functional medicine person and as a therapist. I mean, she's an amazing entrepreneur with a beautiful capacity to create a website that's even I found it overwhelming, the options and the commitment. And I wrote to her and said, I can't be a member even on the lowest level because I'm committed to this radio show, doing retreats and so forth with Michael Rice that I've been doing for now probably 6 years. Boy, time goes. And anyway, but she and I are going to talk because I think she just wants people to partake at some level, and maybe we can work something else out that doesn't involve such a huge...
And so when you're mentioning the website, that's different from the Facebook page?
Well, it's going to be. That's what I'm winding up to try to tell you is I think this Facebook page may not be up for very long. I think she's transitioning to one where it's a paid membership. I'm not sure. I'm not clear. I could ask her about that.
All right. Well, I'll explore it, and I'll reach out to her and see what we get going.
Good.
All right.
And
well, I appreciate that lead, and
really the issues. Yeah, I don't see them up here. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's one, Dr. Tim. Ask Hayes, : this is my early morning notes. Being right. If I believe I am in a body or am a body or have a body and I am separate, then I will always think I'm right. That is sort of a statement rather than a question. But I really think we have to, okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the auto response. But that's okay. That's my initial response. But I don't have to stay stuck in my initial response. I don't have to be the pit bull with a bone demanding that I'm right. I can learn, as this Course in Miracles lesson, A New Beginning that Michael Rice has. He's got a video on it, and it says, let's recognize that human beings have a really hard time admitting they're wrong. So we're not going to beat you over the head with this. We're just going to ask you to examine how it feels when you're angry, sad, scared, hurt, when you've got a negative emotion up, and just start with admitting that you don't like how that feels. And if you can get to that step, then maybe you can ask, I wonder if there's a different way to look at or interpret this situation. Now you've opened the door.
Okay, and one of the things I was fussing about is if we rise above, our judgments, and we rise above the notion or belief that we have a body, I was going to argue about the fact that we could appear to be in avoidance, denial, woo-woo, Pollyanna, and all that stuff. But what you just said, it's like you bring it all with you. You're not in denial at all. You're just stepping back from the whole mess and saying, I need to look at this a different way. Here I am in massive judgment of somebody. You're conscious of the whole picture.
Well, and you bring it back down to, does this feel painful or does this feel loving? And if any way it doesn't feel loving and it feels painful, once I've stepped into this observation of how I'm the one that's creating that feeling, now I'm focused in the area where I can actually have an impact.
Yeah. But in the meantime, things happen fast. You might get in a scuffle with a neighbor, which I did. Stepping back, noticing the judgment, choosing to act lovingly, but feeling like a piece of crap. At the same time, not feeling ready to be as kind as I'm acting, and I could call that hypocrisy, but it isn't. Not in this case, if you're fully aware of all the stuff. This is very challenging.
What's very challenging?
To sit with the discomfort of feeling a judgment rising up, and in the moment choosing a loving response. You mean ultimately and globally and ideally, but you don't mean in the moment. But you're still choosing to be loving. In other words, you're faking it.
Well, the first comment I have is it really sounds like you've just jumped into the overthinking process and trying to figure it out, rather than just applying the process when you're triggered.
When what I'm saying is that's great, but sometimes you don't have time to do that.
That's right. When you first begin, think about it. Somebody just said this to me in a session last night. Like the hardest thing to do is land a jet on an aircraft carrier. That's the hardest thing that humans have ever decided to do. The second hardest thing to do is to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from a professional pitcher in the major leagues. And so it's impossible. How long would I stand there with the bat in my hands before I decide this is impossible, it can't be done? And yet, other baseball players do it every day of the season. And so if I start out and I can't hit the fastball, that doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means I don't have the practice skills. I don't have the hand-eye coordination yet. I can develop it. It's the same kind of thing. This is skill building, and we're starting at ground zero. We've never had the idea before that we were causing our own pain. Our culture trained us to believe other people cause our pain. And we came to believe the cause of my pain is what that person just did or is going to do, and et cetera. So when I open myself to the possibility that it's an internal process, and then I first turn my focus in there and start to develop the skills that will allow me to manage the production of my own pain and eventually choose not to keep producing, but to choose love instead, that's a skill. That's a set of skills. And believe me, you have had testimonials, you may have forgotten them, but you've called this internet show and given testimonials about how you've gotten better in those skills in the past 6 years.
Oh, I do get it, Dr. Tim. I get what you're saying. The time lapse can be minuscule. I'm still giving myself time to sit in my upset, tell myself I have to go sit on my couch and do a worksheet, and then I'll be ready. And that's not true. You can build the skills so that you can do it instantaneously. That's what you're saying, right? I love that idea.
Well, it will become more and more this flow of your life as you observe and then practice the skills for directing your conscious awareness. Because it is literally the choice of the focus of your conscious awareness in each moment that creates your experience of life in that moment. And you may not have been taught the truth of this, but in actuality, you have the infinite capacity to choose the focus of your conscious awareness in each new present moment. And it is literally the choice of that conscious awareness which creates your experience of life. So you're creating your experience of life, and you've been taught to believe you don't, that it just happens to you.
Yeah.
And so as you learn the truth, just like yesterday for you, once you start to learn the truth at deeper and deeper levels, worlds of possibilities and perceptions open to you that you couldn't see moments before. Right? In the beginning of that talk yesterday, you couldn't see how you were hyper-focused and generating a lot of upset and having your mind tell you you were upset because your grandson was hyper-focused.
Yeah.
You couldn't even see how you were the one who moved the car that created the situation that you then said was so infuriating for you. So as we practice the use of the tools, we open the possibility to perceive our lives, the actuality of our lives, more in depth, with more clarity, with more breadth and depth than we could even imagine minutes before. How's it going to change? I don't have any idea. All I know is I'm in pain. And what I'm learning is I have the capacity to either create the pain or to create relief and joy and aliveness and appreciation. So when I'm in pain, I'm in error. Let me shift my focus, practice some skills, and see what I might generate instead.
Well, that's another new idea, Dr. Tim. Yesterday it was, as soon as something happens, notice how you feel and take it from there. Notice you have a goal. But today you're telling me something we've been saying all along, which is there doesn't have to be any time lapse. You can get so adept at this that it's as soon as you're triggered, you are onto yourself and your game.
Michael Rice has called it being at process point. Right? He has said,
nice word.
As you practice this, and the idea is that to process someone means to hold the conscious, active awareness of love as their true nature and your true nature, and to keep your conscious awareness focused on that when something unlike love comes up for them, whether it's yourself or somebody else. And in the beginning, he says, most of the time, we can't hold the conscious, active presence of love in our mindset when something unlike love comes up for us. So in the beginning, it's really useful to have somebody else who can hold that conscious, active awareness of love and process us. But after a while, and he's 5, 10, 20 years at this, after a while, it's possible for people to reach what Michael calls process point, which means they're so practiced at focusing on your true nature as love that when something unlike love comes up for you, it's a blink, it's a breath, it's a refocus, it's a question, it's an observation, and you're feeling both, this alternating, flashing back and forth between the presence of the active, or the awareness of the active presence of love within you as your true source, and the upset that your egoic mind was generating. And in that, you move through these things with a breath or two and back to the space of love, and then your perception clears. And what you do in that moment doesn't need to be directed by a teacher or a master or a guru, because it flows from the actuality of life expressing through you in this, in the moment exchange of this flowing energy flowing in and out, and the direct response that you give life when you see life clearly is perfect, is loving, is expansive. So that was another part of the call yesterday that flowed out, is that, you were asking me, what should I do, or how could I do this differently? And I'm saying, if you do the worksheet, your genius loci, your intuitive sense, your being a responsible, respectful, loving person will flow into that scene and produce a result that I couldn't even begin to coach you into. So, there you have it. Thank you so much, both Ellen and Susan, for comments and discussion today. I will mute you both so we can make our transition. We're down to the last few seconds here. I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of the stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Welcome, Jeannie Rice.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. And Susan, if you would also send me the PDF of the worksheet that you're using, and I'll add it into the notes for today. So thank you very much.
Have a wonderful show.
Thanks.